Good morning. So I hope you all enjoyed your breakfast. I just want to say I agreed to this when I knew that I was going after breakfast, so I knew you wouldn't be worried about getting to your meal, but before they told me you'd be having alcohol with breakfast. So I hope you can put my words together and make some sense of them. As announced, I'm Danny Grossman. It's my privilege to serve as a member of the Board of Directors of the Jewish Community Federation, as well as on the Executive Committee. I'm standing in Tom Kasten's place, who today is in Israel on our annual consultation trip. So as someone who's been very active in entrepreneurship and philanthropy and our Jewish community, I thoroughly embrace the themes of today's breakfast. I think they're perfectly appropriate. And these are the three pursuits, really, that are characteristics not only of our people and our history, but of this community in particular. This community, our Jewish community, was built with that combination of leadership and entrepreneurship and philanthropy. So it gives me a lot of pride to be here today with you celebrating those things and to hear from our speakers later. So I want to thank our co-chairs, Greg Fix and Danielle Penner, whom you heard up here just a moment ago, as well as the rest of the BLC volunteer and professional team for putting this breakfast together. I also want to acknowledge, in the same vein that we acknowledged our past chairs of the Federation, I want to acknowledge immediate past CEO of our Federation, Jen Gorovitz, sitting over here to my right, and acknowledge her for all her service to our organization. And of course, to thank Jim O'Fell. Jim is our interim CEO of this Federation. He's been serving in that role for the past 12 months, very ably. He's worked tirelessly and very successfully, I might add, to enhance both our efficiency and impact as an organization. We greatly appreciate his leadership, and I hope you'll all join me in thanking him for his service. So when I served as a diplomat in the Soviet Union too many years ago, I recall sitting with a Jewish refusenik. For those of you that don't know, a refusenik was a Jew who applied for permission to leave the country and was denied by the government, usually for fraudulent reasons. And he shared with me a kind of despair that I had heard many times from refuseniks during my time in Leningrad. He was a community leader among the Jews there, and as such, many very well-intentioned American Jews, much like all of us in this room, visited him on a regular basis, and to help them support their Jewish activities, brought goods, usually, by the way, Levi Strauss jeans, which fetched a very high price. Jim Caution loves that. They fetched a very high price in the Soviet Union at the time. So why the despair? He was agonizing over the realization that no matter how hard he worked, how deliberate he was, how thoughtful he was, someone was going to say, "You're self-dealing," or "You're giving too much to, the guys on the Petrogradskaya side of the city," or "You're not giving everything that you received." And I had a thought. Having grown up in this city and appreciated and enjoyed what it meant to have a Jewish Community Federation, a kind of central organization of the community working in collaboration with all of the other wonderful organizations, never occurred to me what it looks like when there isn't that center, when there's a void there. And that's where he lived, and that's what he suffered. So with that realization, I stopped taking for granted the work of the federations. And when I left the Foreign Service and came back to San Francisco, I immediately became involved in this federation. I'm really proud of the role we play. You heard a lot about it. We're also very fortunate to work with wonderful partners in this community throughout, from the JCCs to the Hillels to the schools. So in fulfilling our mission of supporting a vibrant, caring, and enduring Jewish community, we have three primary areas that'll be there in a minute. The Twitter is there now, but the other slide will be there in a moment. Caring for the vulnerable, inspiring Jewish life and learning, and advancing a shared society in Israel. So how do we do that? This is a business group, right? You want to know, well, tell us how you do it. Don't tell us what you do. How do you do that? Well, first of all, we train leaders and philanthropists. They don't come out of nowhere. You are all in this room for a particular reason. They come from programs like the Wexner Heritage Program, the Teen Philanthropy Foundation, Federation Fellows, and many others where we're training philanthropists and leaders. The second is by identifying needs in our community, in collaboration with our partners around the community, that we need to provide solutions for. We come together, we identify innovative solutions, we fundraise for those solutions, and we meet those needs. This includes everything from job training in Israel for Ethiopian immigrants, to job training for ultra-Orthodox in Israel who are trying to enter the workforce for the first time, to funding scholarships to ensure the affordability of Jewish life, camping, Jewish camps, day schools, supplemental schools, to supporting Jewish innovation that speaks to our next generations and the way that we engage as Jews, to responding to crises and emergencies, which sadly continue to dog us, whether it's supporting Jews in war zones in Ukraine or addressing BDS challenges, boycott, divestment, sanctions challenges on our own campuses, to helping build the capacity of our partner agencies. We have worked together as a federation with those agencies to create a magnificent community, and again, we shouldn't take that for granted either. So the investment that our ancestors made in this community and in this federation is something that I think none of us should take for granted. Over the last 100 years, we've built a wonderful community here. And over the next 100 years, we have a tall task, and we don't take for granted at all the role that all of you are already playing in that and will play in the future. So I want to thank everyone in this room for supporting that vital work through your gift to the 2015 Federation campaign. And I want to assure you, as was said earlier, that your gifts will be efficiently and fairly allocated across this community. So, since we're eager to hear from our speakers, at least I am, I'm sure you are too, Harry Saul and Jonathan Kaplan, I'd like to just conclude with a few words about this Business Leadership Award so you have the context. The award was launched in 2010 as a way to recognize business leaders who meet these very high standards. First, caring about the welfare of and leading within the Jewish community, serving as a role model and motivator to upcoming leaders, creating solutions for Jewish communal challenges, participating in community fundraising events, incorporating Jewish principles in his or her personal, business, and philanthropic practices. You probably by now have concluded that we're looking for the Messiah to ride in on a white donkey, and thankfully we have Harry Saul. I want to acknowledge now, one moment, there we go. I'd like to ask Donna Dubinsky, Leonard Shustek, and Mark Leslie to the stage to share some personal thoughts about our honoree, Harry Saul, who, more than the Mashiach, merits this award, and we thank him for all his work. So please join me.